If you haven't heard the news already, there's a little bit of advice for theater singers that's been going around for a long time. It has to do with the sinuses in your face, and folks who taught bel canto singers back in the day often used these mysterious skull caves as guideposts for singers to know they were making the right kinds of acoustically amplified sounds. So versions of this have been passed down through oral tradition and may take on the form of phrases such as get it forward, use your mask, or you may even have a visual of a very well-meaning voice teacher pointing at either side of their nose and telling you to aim your voice there like a laser beam. In my experience, all of this has been the opposite of helpful, and I can tell you why real quick. First of all, nobody can hear what's going on in your mask except for you. The only thing folks hear is what vibrates through your mouth and through your nose. You might not even have the self-perception to feel the resonance there, and that's okay. The second reason I never think this way or encourage singers I work with to think this way is because the vast majority of your resonance happens in a little place that I love to talk about. And that place is your pharynx. If you snort, let your uvula flop back like you're sawing logs at 3 a.m. Yeah. My wife reports I am expert at that these days, so I'm sorry, sweetie. You'll feel the spot. And in this picture, you'll see the blue, yellow, and green portions. Those are where your prime resonant money is at. And that makes sense, right? They are directly north of your vocal folds. Yeah. Your folds vibrate, and then all that vibration gets bounced around and amplified right there in the recital hall of your vocal tract. Feeling resonance in your mask is an effect, and what you're feeling is a nanoseconds past tense event. The vibrations you're feeling there are a result of what just came through your larynx and your pharynx. So in my experience, when I've tried to aim for the front or sing into my mask or hit the back row through a lot of forward resonance, my body recruits all kinds of muscles to direct my sound into this spot. And it makes the pharynx muscles do the only things that they can do, which is constrict. So if you look at this image, the green, orange, and blue muscle groups, they swallow for you hundreds of times a day. And the only thing they can do when they engage is get smaller. That is why they are called constrictors. So to sing well, this mischief has to be managed. The softer and meltier these muscles are, the more room the recital hall, which is your pharynx, has to bounce sound waves around and amplify them. If they're squeezing just a little and trying to laser beam your sound forward, well, you're going to get a real samey, monochrome, bright metallic sound that honestly, musical theater gets made fun of for. And for good reason. I think it's dopey, and I think folks are missing out on all the individual color that the rest of their singular vocal tract can paint those sound waves with as they travel through. So, what do? I encourage a dual perception, a centered awareness of the resonance vibrating through your vocal tract while your communication attention goes to your scene partner. Musical theater performers have to manage multiple awarenesses all the time. It could be like, I'm Christine Daae, I'm me, there's the conductor. The audience is full tonight. That bobby pin is too tight. Maybe I'll offer Raoul a breath mint later. I should have warmed up better before this show. I could use a nap. Watch the conductor. That's what's going on in our brains, and I'm astounded when folks believe we can't think about vocal technique and storytelling at the same time. We have to. Humans think about more than one thing on the regular. And yes, I know all the recent studies on how you can't really multitask, and yes, hand raised. But are you trying to tell me that when you're scrubbing your tub, you can't sing Alone by Heart at the same time? See? How do I get want you alone. Okay. I mean, anybody who has sung and danced simultaneously can tell you that technique and singing can and must happen at the same time, or else you fall over. So here's what I want you to understand. Your primary resonance happens in your pharynx. Folks can only hear what vibrates through your mouth and your nose. Therefore, let's do things that help these two factors happen as freely and efficiently as they can. You might feel like your forehead's gonna buzz right off your head when you sing a certain note, but someone could make a very similar sound and feel none of that. Here are the questions you can ask yourself in order to find the sweet spot for efficient resonance and honest communication. Number one, what are you singing? What's the world of the show or the song? So Ado Annie is going to sing differently from A Little Night Music's Anne, and she's going to sing differently from Anna in Frozen. You're a theater singer. You make thousands of different sounds. And once you know that, what kind of breath support are you using? If I Loved You support is going to be very different from Take Me or Leave Me. If I Loved You from Carousel is going to have floatier ribs and be generated from the lower transverse abs and obliques. That's more of an appoggio event. And Rent is going to have more rib closure and engagement, which produces more compressed phonation. Think of a toddler wailing over their banana being peeled the wrong way, broken, or slightly bruised. Those ribs know how to engage with the vocal folds to signal banana injustice. Yeah? So then get a sense of the emotional impulse you're working with. That's third. So Ado Annie. It ain't so much a question of not knowing what to do. And then Anne from A Little Night Music. Soon I promise. Very different. Or Anna, for the first time in forever. I think those are the notes, yeah? Three very different needs to communicate. Those emotional images will light up in different parts of your body and they'll move the voice in a different way. So pay attention to your body on this. Then notice how that affects the phonatory pattern of the voice. What happens when you notice the emotional energy of surmising, it ain't so much a question of not knowing what to do, and how is that different from Anne singing, soon I promise, and Anna's got a completely different set of circumstances going on, right? So three very different psychologies, and your folds are going to sing these three different characters in different ways, just instinctively. So after that, now it's time to notice what the voice is doing just north of your larynx in your pharynx. Meditate your attention right back to that spot where your uvula vibrates against the back of the pharyngeal wall when you snort. That's the spot where I want you to notice your vibratory energy flowing past like a stream. So how does Ado Annie's stream move? It ain't so much a question. And how about Anne? Soon I promise. And then for the first time in forever. Different streams there. So notice the differences in airspeed, how you feel the vibrations. Does that feel different from what you normally do? And do you still feel sensations up in the front of your face? For me, I never think about them anymore. I mean, I may just be used to them, but I don't focus there. And then after that, how can you shape your articulators and the rest of the tract to help you the most? The one tip I have for you on this is to let your tongue float into your mouth. You want your tongue to float high and close to your hard palate. So this does at least three things. One, it gets your tongue out of your pharynx, your most resonant place. Number two, it floats the root of the tongue off of the larynx, and so this whole mechanism has freedom to move. And three, When the tongue floats high toward the hard palate, it creates a very helpful acoustic bottleneck that causes sound waves to bounce back into the pharynx and amplify even more. So then, the dialect of these characters, their self-concept, and the world of the show are going to affect your articulation choices. Your entire body energy, based on who you believe you are, is going to shape how your tongue, teeth, and soft palate and pharynx all interact. And that's the flow of energy that you have actual, immediate control over. You can witness that as the actor storyteller while looking to see if your communication is landing with your scene partner. You can, in fact, do more than one thing at a time within a given task. So I hope this takes the pressure off of you to think that you have to target and aim vibrations in a certain spot on your face. Sometimes you may feel sympathetic resonance galore in all kinds of places in your skull. Other times you won't. That doesn't matter. What does matter is that you are making free, efficient sounds that come from a deep belief and empathy for who you are being and the story you are courageous enough to live. Again, what I want you to walk away from this with is your primary resonance happens in your pharynx. Nobody can hear your mask. There are no openings from your mask to the rest of the world. You can indeed think about vocal technique and storytelling at the same time. In fact, I believe they serve each other. Also, trying to aim your whole voice in a forward direction can sometimes recruit muscles that decrease efficiency and cause unwanted constriction. Then, when you're working on any kind of material, ask yourself, what world am I in? What am I singing? What's the style? What is the universe that this song lives in? What kind of breath support does this call for? What is my body's ego identity here? How does this affect my phonatory pattern? What kinds of sounds am I making as a result of this breath pattern and who I believe I am, the energy column of me? And then what do for the resonances happening in my pharynx feel like as they flow through? And then after that, how do your articulators, affected by your body's ego identity, as the character or in this style, sculpt this vibration when it flows through your mouth? And subnote on this, and this is a whole other topic, but let your tongue float high and fill a lot of the mouth. It gets out of your pharynx, frees your larynx, and creates a terrific acoustic speed bump bottleneck environment, all right? All of these things you have direct agency over. You can stand in your energy column, share generously, and observe how your scene partners respond with openness, curiosity, and play. Practice these things and reach out if you have questions at dan@dancalloway.com or click on Work With Me on my website to find out how you can, work with me. So I'm all about getting you to simple tools that make sense and work fast, so that you can tell the stories you want with joy, freedom, and love, feel confident and excited at auditions, and contribute beautiful and satisfying work in whatever room you're collaborating in. Because remember, there is objectively, empirically, scientifically only one you. And folks need to hear the story only you can sing. Now go sing. Bye.